Everyone's ready for the workshop? Before we start, I'm going to ask you one question. How many of you joined us on our previous workshop on 18th of May? Can I see a show of hands? I see one. I only see one. No one else? It's okay. So, what is Morpheus? We'll start from the basics. We'll do a bit of recap from the previous workshop as well, so that you understand what I'm trying to do today. Because today, you will be building your first AI agent with us. I know some of you might have built already, but this is with us. So let's start with Morpheus. What is Morpheus? Morpheus is a community based on decentralized ideas. For example, we are working towards building a decentralized AI network for everyone to use. A free, decentralized, uncontrolled by someone, open for everyone, a network, a community. That's what we are doing here at Morpheus. And to help us, we have a lot of components. Mainly, we have community builders, we have capital providers, we have code providers as well. And that is what we have been doing over here as Morpheus Asia. We go to a lot of universities. We have multiple events on explaining what decentralized network is, how is it beneficial to us. I'm sure you guys have heard the word decentralized before. Have you? I'm sure you have. And we are just community builders in this space. Now, how many of you, again, have heard of the word decentralized? Can I see a show of hands? 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, I think everyone over here should know, right? You know? Okay. 2. What is decentralized AI? What's your name? Arya. What do you think a decentralized network is for decentralized AI? Yeah, that's free. Good. What about you? What do you think? Be free. No worries. There's no wrong answer.
It's an AI that I believe is free to use, and there is no bias.
Very good answer. These are very good answers. You guys are very close. So, what is a decentralized AI network? How many of you know what is ChatGPT? ChatGPT is one example of a centralized network. All of your compute, all of your AI prompts go to a single point source. That point source can limit and control and have restrictions set. Restrictions on how much can you use it. They can use your data as well. You don't have complete privacy. And you're already following guidelines set by them. You will never be free. They can set the rates, they can set the prices, they can set whatever they want to do. However, this should not be restricted. Artificial intelligence should be open to everyone to use. Our data, our privacy should be within our hands, and we should decide what and how can we use AI for the future. So this is what decentralized AI is. We are different from centralized AI networks because in centralized, there's always one source at the top. In decentralized, all of you can be compute providers. All of you can be part of a community that is powering our decentralized AI network. There is no single point of failure, or there is no single owner, or there is no single source which is powering the AI. It comes from everyone. Everyone is working on it. Everyone is working compute for it. That is the type of ecosystem Morpheus is trying to work on. Does it make sense? Yes? No? There's more examples. Compute. Do you know what is compute? Do you know what is compute? Any guesses? What do you think is compute in AI terms? What do you think? Programming the AI. Compute over there is power or the computation power for the AI. And in a centralized network, it comes from one source. So ChatGPT has their own servers, and all of the computation powers is coming from ChatGPT to you. This means they hold the ultimate power. in a decentralized environment, you guys can provide your own compute power. You can have data centers. You can even use your own machines to provide compute powers for everyone to use. There is no single owner of a decentralized compute power. It's free to use. It can never be restricted. Let's look at one more example. Restricted. You can set, if you are working in a centralized AI company, you can set limitations. For example, the government wants to ban emojis. So moving forward, all the AIs will not be using emojis or encouraging emojis. Now you as social media, if you're texting it to your friends, you want to use emojis, but the government has set restrictions on emojis. No single source or no centralized AI companies will be encouraging the use of emojis. It's bad. Emojis aren't bad. You want to use emojis, but they can be restricted. And there is nothing you can do about that except for following the rules. In a decentralized network, these restrictions do not exist. You can do whatever you want to do and grow in any direction you want to. You cannot be restricted. Your growth cannot be tampered with or restricted. You can flow in any direction you want. That's what decentralized helps us achieve. What about failure? Tomorrow, let's assume I am a CEO of a big company. I have multiple coders working for me, and all of these coders are using a lot of compute power, a lot of intelligence, a lot of co-working with centralized AI companies like ChatGPT, Claude, and many more. Tomorrow, if the big servers at ChatGPT, the big servers at Claude are facing issues, my company would be down. But in a decentralized network, we don't have a single point of failure. There are multiple compute providers, multiple network providers. It's a big ecosystem. I do not face these risks. So that is the difference between centralized and decentralized AI environments. Now, what are we here to do today? And before I move on with what we are here to do today, I want to invite Rene over here as well to help us understand a bit more in depth on decentralized network and some of the things Morpheus has to offer as well. Just a small chat.
One more back.
One more back?
No, it's okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Okay. So just regarding compute and AI inference, you didn't have a clue what is compute, like the computation, the work being done. That's actually what powers all these systems nowadays. The AI systems in the background crunching the vectors, right? Not really the words, but the vectorized words. It's a rather complicated thing how the machines think in these multi-dimensional vector spaces. We don't really need to know all the details if we want to build things on the application layer, but somebody needs to do the hard work of the thinking, which is this compute provider. And the compute provider for the ChatGPTs and all this is the huge data centers in usually a central location, somewhere powered by these gas turbines in the deserts in US, handling for these centralized companies their compute, their inference. Inference is the AI terminology where you get the data processing done with these compute providers. And nowadays, when you want to do any application, you're building any fitness tracking app or whatever it is, or even the challenges now in this hackathon, building an agent to do sales support or whatever it is, you will need AI inference. You need AI compute, and you need to choose where to get it from, because somebody needs to crunch your data, right? Somebody needs to do it, and usually you will use API connections to these endpoints, which then in their data centers handle it for us. You can tweak the parameters of the API calls about how much of what they call this one, the temperature is something they give. The temperature is how close to facts the answers will be, or how much like poetry, inventing some truths or things come out. whereby for story writing, you want this fiction text coming out, but for fact finding, you might not want it. So if you create an accounting system agent, you don't want the accounting agent to invent numbers. You want to stick to the truth. So these things are very important to tweak and to understand. When you do the API calls to the providers, the endpoints, to set the right parameters on what kind of a reply do you want. And now for this AI inference, Morpheus is providing a solution for a sustainable, long-term food for your AI systems. Food for AI agents are tokens. They munch on these token credits. And you know that token credits are something which normally we need to pay for. It's a value which somebody should pay for this value. And in Morpheus, there is a system how in the community, in this open source world, without a corporate central for-profit entity, there is a system how users can get the inference, this compute work, forever with a certain fair usage rate limit, right? But for free. There are ways how somebody who needs very high rates can even pay extra and get more of this inference power. So there's various different models how to tap into this system. And today we finished up some even guides, and we want to let you go through on Windows, Linux, or macOS to get running the system on using the Morpheus API endpoint systems. For example, agentic framework. We are using the OpenClaw framework today to bring you into the world of agentic processing and getting stuff done for us using these API calls towards the Morpheus system. And there's various approaches how Morpheus handles things. We will go into that later. But most importantly, we want to bring you up to speed to have a result today evening. And the result, we will have a team of 3 of us, right? It's Aslam, then Ishan, and myself supporting to bring you up to speed to get this working today. We really hope that you leave the room with a working AI agent system. You take it from there, or at least you have the learning to build your solutions to win this hackathon, right? So what else should I tell about now here? How OpenClaw works? Well, this is agentic systems in general. Agentic systems is mostly like it's a framework, it's a protocol on how to handle user input, how to do operations on the host system, and how to call to an API endpoint of an AI system. So, for example, OpenClaw works best if you install it on a system where it has the full system access and can shuffle files around, can access your shared calendar and things on your computer, and can, in a human language understanding, process things when you say, rename all the files in this folder to become the year, the month, and then the photo location. Whatever you give instruction, it will do for you. Go to the folder, do the things. And in order to know how to accomplish the task, this framework will check with the AI models, get the instructions how to do a command on Linux, on Windows, how to handle things, then do it for you and give you the human language response. Okay, done, boss. This is the result. It's amazing what we can do with these systems, even for building other tools. We can say that I want to build something, I want to do something, help me do it. And the system will not only tell you, but it will do for you. This is the beauty of OpenClaw. I myself use it since February this year. I'm very actively automating many things in my life about this one. From the API call of my fitness tracker, sleep tracker, to air cons at home, to Google calendars, all these things. My OpenClaw handles big aspects of my life for me, and I don't need to pay for the inference because I'm tapping into the Morpheus network. Okay, final output, yeah, in human language communicated. Where do I go from here, Ishan?
Now we will be working on getting your first agent ready on OpenClaw, because now you know how it works, maybe a bit. Right now you understand what we do as Morpheus. Now you understand what a decentralized AI network is. So let's move on to setting it up on your devices today. And for that, I'll be inviting Aslam. Let's have a round of applause. And as you can see on the screen, we will be helping you guys set up your first model. But before we go there, is every one of you in the WhatsApp group? Yes? No?
I'll communicate.
Yes. Okay. And did you guys see the guides to install OpenClaw for your devices? Yes or no? Yes? Okay, one yes. I think not everyone has seen it. Let me share the guys video. Guys, is this sent a message in the WhatsApp group in which all of you are in? Can you see the previous messages and previous PDFs? Can you see the previous messages, guys? Yes, no? Yes? Okay. If you can see the previous messages, there will be installation guides for Windows, for Mac OS, for a virtual, if you have VMs, VirtualBox, or especially on Ubuntu. So whatever your OS is, open the guide and let's start working on setting up OpenClaw using the Morpheus API, our inference on your device. And after we set it up, we'll be doing activities to understand how these AIs are so advanced and can interact with our own devices and execute tasks. So let's start with something simple, installation. Did anyone install here? I know Mustafa has, right? Mustafa has installed it. Has anyone else used the guides and installed it on the devices? Haven't? Okay, no worries. For that, we have Aslam here and he'll be guiding us through installing it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Aslam Pata. I believe my fellow colleague Aisha already introduced me. So I'll be taking over the next point of this session, which covers the installation, and then shortly afterwards, we can proceed to demonstrating how the OpenClaw plus the Morpheus interface works and performing a few use cases and showing you guys some of the activities we have planned. So your first OpenClaw agent. So today, I believe my colleague mentioned, we have distributed a couple of guides depending on the operating system you're on. Obviously, there's a Windows guide, there's a guide for the Mac OS, and there's also a guide for the Ubuntu virtual machine, which you can install inside the Oracle VirtualBox. So essentially, the steps that are involved in installing your first OpenClaw agent is the setup. You basically first have to install the OpenClaw within your system. Depending on your operating system, the command may differ. Secondly, you have to connect your AI model to your own local device, or you can use different ways to host it. So we basically give you access to a free API key, which your model is able to call, and that's where you can access the inference. I'm sure everybody knows how inference works. But what makes OpenClaw different is that it sort of acts as a digital coworker. So instead of normal large language models like ChatGPT, whereby it's very much conversational, you're asking it a question and it gives you a prompt. With the tool like OpenClaw, especially integrated within a decentralized interface, you can essentially make it a digital coworker. It can get into your files, it can understand your workflows, and it can do so much more than just doing a prompt. It can actually, basically organize your whole file directory. There are a couple of different use cases that involve, which we're going to show you guys today.
Great.
So compute and inference API, I'm sure my colleagues already discussed about this, but the Morpheus inference API basically gives developers access to the Morpheus network. Morpheus network is this sort of decentralized network, so instead of companies like OpenAI or ChatGPT, whereby there's just one central source of intelligence when the data is running these human data servers. It's decentralized and it's open source, so you have access. They don't have access to they don't basically have control of your data, and you're basically able to coordinate your own workflows without having to worry about OpenAI stealing your data or security concerns. And that's what decentralization is essentially all about. Next, builders and use cases. So this just explores a couple of use cases that are associated with Morpheus and all decentralized network. And you can see you can build AI chatbot powered by Morpheus API. You can build a research assistant, which is specifically useful in the case of students. maybe you guys have a project you guys want to research on, and you want to access our API in order to get those insights for the research tasks. You can also automate your whole entire workflows. If you give OpenFlow, like my colleague already mentioned, if you give OpenFlow access to your workflows, and it can just get into your flat files and understand essentially how your computer works, it can be very good in workflow automation because it can essentially basically make your workflow more efficient once it understands how and what you do on a day-to-day basis. So next, we're going to be basically moving on to the installation section of this workshop. So I believe the guys will share on the WhatsApp group as well as the Telegram. So just by a show of hands, how many people are able to set up the OpenFlow plus Morpheus network one that you have? By show of hands.
For two,
That's 2 people.
3, 4, 5.
Four,
You have
five,
some. Thanks.
six. And from the guys who set up, most of you, I'm guessing, are primarily Windows users. Windows. Yes. By show of hands, who is using a Mac device there? Only one?
Only 2, 3,
Only 2 Mac users, 3,
Four.
4 Mac users.
5. 5. Statistics.
Okay, so democracy will just be going through the Windows installation guide. So it begins with the prerequisites. So these are basically some of the things that you must have installed on your laptop before you begin the installation process. So obviously, if you are on a Windows, how do you scroll on this? How do you scroll down on this?
It's on your laptop.
It's on mine.
Everything is on your laptop.
Okay, so obviously it goes to the operating system, the hardware requirements, network connectivity, accounts and credentials. Like we mentioned, you will be creating a Morpheus account, which will then give you the access to the free API key that you'll be using to access our own inference, and a couple of software dependencies. Then it goes to security considerations, which is also very important because OpenFlow, as we know, it's able to access your files. So if you have sensitive information in any of your files, you may be able to restrict how much access the agent is able to be given. And you should also avoid storing sensitive information in directories in which your agent may be able to access. And your API key, once you do get your API key from our App.more website, you make sure to store it in a secure location because it will only be displayed to you one time. I think that's the more part of the installation.